My beloved child. God says this to you right now, and Archangel Michael stands beside you as this message is being delivered into your heart. You have been searching, trembling, wondering why your spirit feels heavy, why your nights feel long, why your heart keeps sensing something you cannot fully name. God says, my child, I am reaching you now because the hour has come when the veil must be lifted, and the truth must touch your spirit before it vanishes from your destiny forever. Archangel Michael whispers, I'm tired of trying to talk to you, but I have not given up on you. Something very shocking will happen tonight exactly at 11:11 p.m., and you must hear this before it disappears in 35 seconds from your path. This message is urgent, not because something bad will happen, but because something divine, unexpected, and deeply transforming is about to unfold. God wants you to know that nothing will go wrong with you. You are safe, fully protected, and wrapped in divine light. You simply need to trust God, breathe deeply, and open your heart as these words enter your spirit. Tonight at 11:11 p.m., the spiritual world will shift around you in a way that has not happened for a long time. A door is opening. A revelation is forming. A thread that connects your past, your wounds, your prayers, your divine protection, and your destiny will align into a single moment. And this message is preparing you for it so you do not miss the guidance. The blessing, the correction, the miracle, or the protection that God has decided to release into your life. God says, you have cried enough. You have carried enough. You have tried to stay strong even when your own strength felt like sand slipping through your fingers. I have seen every tear, every silent prayer, every moment when you thought no one was listening. I was there. I am still here. And tonight at 11:11 p.m., you will feel me in a way you have never felt me before. Archangel Michael stands behind these words with wings spread wide, watching over you. He has been trying to reach you for days, for weeks, sometimes through dreams, sometimes through sudden thoughts, sometimes through moments when your heart felt pulled toward something you couldn't understand. But now, this is the moment when he speaks clearly, my child, I have tried to talk to you so many times. I am not angry with you. I am simply desperate to protect you and guide you. Tonight is no ordinary night. You must not ignore this message because something you have been waiting for is finally arriving. The shocking thing that will happen tonight is not something to fear. Instead, it is a divine interruption, something that will force your life into alignment. Something that will reveal what you couldn't see before. Something that will shift the energy around you and break the weight that has been pressing on your spirit. God wants you to understand that your recent strange feelings, your sudden intuition, your restless nights, your emotional waves, none of these were random. They were signals. Quiet alerts. Spiritual movements intended to prepare your heart for what is coming. The enemy has tried to confuse you, to weaken your confidence, to make you feel forgotten. But heaven has not forgotten you. Not even for a moment. And tonight at 11:11 p.m., the spiritual realm will confirm something that has been hidden from you for far too long. God says, you are stepping into a season where divine timing is going to be extremely precise. Nothing in your life recently has been a coincidence. Every delay, every loss, every separation, every sudden change, it all has purpose. And now the moment has arrived where the truth must be revealed. You may have been feeling disconnected from your own destiny lately. Perhaps you've questioned your worth, your direction, your relationships, your decisions. You may have even thought that God became silent. But the silence was not abandonment, it was preparation. God says, you were never alone. You were never ignored. My angels surrounded you even when you felt nothing at all. And tonight, my child, tonight, something will be restored within you. This restoration might come in the form of a sudden realization, a sudden emotional clarity, a dream that feels more real than anything, a message from someone unexpected. A spiritual presence touching your heart, a divine shift that brings peace where there was confusion. Archangel Michael wants you to know that he has been holding back a spiritual force that was trying to drain your strength, something that fed on your doubts, drained your energy, and made you feel like you were losing control. But tonight, that force loses power over you, he says. At 11:11 p.m., the chain breaks. The cycle ends. The confusion lifts. And the truth reveals itself. You may feel a wave of peace, you may feel tingles, you may feel sudden warmth, you may feel a knowing rise inside you. Whatever comes, it will be gentle, divine, and safe. God wants you to rest in the truth that nothing harmful will approach you. You are protected. You are surrounded. You are watched over. You are held. God says, you have entered a season where everything that hurt you will lose its power. Everything that confused you will become clear. Everything that delayed you will be replaced by acceleration. Everything that drained you will be replaced by divine strength. The reason this message is urgent is because your spirit is standing at the edge of a spiritual transformation, and heaven is making sure you do not step into the next chapter confused or unprepared. This is your alignment moment, your awakening moment, your revelation moment, your healing moment, your divine timing moment. God says, you have suffered long enough for things that were never your fault. You have blamed yourself for circumstances you did not create. You have carried responsibility for hearts that were never yours to fix. Tonight, I remove that burden from you. You may not realize it yet, but someone has been thinking deeply about you. Someone who once felt distant has been feeling a pull toward you. Someone you once blocked, someone who once avoided truth, someone who once acted out of fear may carry an unexpected confession in their heart. A truth long hidden is approaching your life, but this is not a message about fear, it is a message about clarity, closure, and divine alignment. Tonight at 11:11 p.m., you are stepping into a doorway that closes your old cycles and opens your destined ones. The divine wants you to trust what you feel, trust what your intuition has been whispering, trust the signs you have noticed around you, trust the peace that follows this message. Archangel Michael says, I am clearing your path tonight. I am removing what tried to stand in your way. I am making room for what belongs to you. I am lifting the spiritual fog that has surrounded you. And I need you to believe that what is coming is not meant to hurt you, it is meant to free you. God says, you have prayed many times saying, Lord, show me the truth. Lord, guide me. Lord, give me a sign. Lord, protect me. Tonight, my child, I am answering all of those prayers at once. Something you once worried about will lose its power over you. Something you once feared will fade away, something you once longed for will come closer, something you once misunderstood will make sense. Your life is shifting quietly but powerfully. God has been moving pieces behind the scenes, healing your emotional wounds, clearing invisible obstacles, redirecting certain people, softening certain hearts, and strengthening your spirit. The shocking part is not danger. The shocking part is truth. The shocking part is realization. The shocking part is divine intervention. God says, you are stepping into a moment I have written for you long before you were born. And 11:11 p.m. will be the hour you feel the turning of the page. So breathe. Relax your shoulders, let your spirit open gently. You are safe, you are held, you are not in harm's way, you are entering divine alignment. God says, I will be with you. Nothing will go wrong with you. You are safe. Trust me. And Archangel Michael whispers one last time, do not ignore this moment. Tonight your spirit will awaken. And I will be with you as it happens. This is your divine message. This is your moment. This is your protection. This is your revelation. This is your blessing. You are covered in light. You are surrounded by angels. You are guided by God. And tonight at 11:11 p.m., your life will shift gently into the destiny written for you, my child. God says this to you in a breath so urgent, so filled with divine weight, that I am delivering it without pause, without delay, without anything to interrupt what heaven is trying to move toward you in this exact moment. God says that before the clock strikes 11:11 p.m. tonight, something in your atmosphere, something in the unseen realm around your life, something that has been waiting for months, even years, will shift in a way that will leave you standing still, breath caught, heart trembling, not in fear, but in a recognition that heaven has just touched the fabric of your reality. God says you need to hear this now, because if you delay, the clarity that is hovering over you in this moment may pass you by. And the message that has been trying to reach you for so long may vanish before you grasp the weight of it. Archangel Michael has been whispering, guiding, calling, protecting, and warning you, but he says he is tired of trying to talk to you when your heart is overwhelmed by noise, doubt, and the pain of what you've survived. He isn't tired of you. He is tired of the battles you've been forced to face alone because you didn't know heaven was standing right there with you through every moment when you thought you were abandoned, tonight at 11:11 p.m., heaven will send a sign that you cannot ignore. God says the spiritual pressure you've been feeling is not danger, it is divine urgency. The weight of a blessing that is too big to enter quietly. God says you are safe, protected, covered, and surrounded, but you must listen, because what is coming will unfold like a quiet revelation inside you, something that awakens you from the place where your spirit has been frozen by disappointment. God says you have cried prayers that no one knows about. You have carried burdens that no human could understand, but heaven has counted every tear, every moment you held yourself together, every storm you survived without anyone knowing how heavy the weight was for you. Tonight something will break open in your life, but it is not destruction, it is release, breakthrough, alignment. And truth that has been withheld from you finally finding its way toward your hands. God says this urgency is not fear-based. It is purpose-based. You have been chosen to receive something that others tried to block from you. Someone has been speaking your name in places you could not see, both in good ways and in ways meant to harm your progress. But heaven says no weapon formed against you has been allowed to complete its assignment. You have been walking with unseen protection for so long that you forgot how many miracles surround you every day, how many attacks never reached you because Archangel Michael stepped in front of them before they even formed. God says Michael has watched you trust people who didn't deserve the softness of your heart. Watched you love people who couldn't handle the purity of your spirit, watched you break silently so others could remain whole. And now he says it is time for you to see what has been hidden, time for you to uncover what has been withheld, time for you to receive what has been delayed. Tonight at 11:11 p.m., something in the spiritual realm will align itself with your destiny. You don't have to prepare for it, you don't have to fear it, you don't have to run from it. You only have to be open. God says your spirit has been restless lately for a reason. You have been feeling energy shifts, emotional waves, sudden memories, unusual dreams, or strange heaviness that you couldn't explain. Those were not random moments, those were divine announcements. Heaven has been trying to prepare you for something that is only now ready to unfold. God says there is a truth that has been trying to make its way to you for a very long time, a truth that will not harm you but will free you. A truth that will explain why certain things didn't work out the way you thought they would. A truth that will show you why certain people suddenly pulled away, why certain opportunities disappeared, why certain doors slammed shut without warning. God says the doors that closed had to close, because the path you were about to walk with those people or situations would have taken you far away from the life heaven designed for you. Archangel Michael says that the urgency you feel is because your life is entering a season that requires your awareness, your intuition, your clarity. Something new is coming, something unexpected, something that will shock you at first but then bring you peace so deep you will wonder why you ever doubted God in the first place. Heaven says the reason the message feels so urgent is because the blessing arriving tonight carries a spiritual timestamp. This isn't a normal moment. This is divine synchronization. your life aligning with your destiny in a way that doesn't happen often. God says there are people you have been thinking about suddenly, people you haven't spoken to in months or years. That isn't random. Their names are resurfacing because heaven is removing the emotional weight they placed on you. God says someone who hurt you deeply is thinking of you right now. They are carrying guilt, shame, and regret, and heaven is dealing with their heart. But this message is not about them. This message is about you, your path, your healing, your alignment, and your breakthrough. God says something shocking will happen tonight, but the shock will be revelation, not destruction. God will show you a truth, a sign, a moment of clarity, a sudden shift, something that confirms that every spiritual nudge you felt was leading you in the right direction. You may receive a message, a dream, a sensation, a sudden moment of emotional release, or an unexpected sign in the physical world. Heaven says you will know it when it happens. Your spirit will recognize it instantly. God says you have been walking through a season of spiritual exhaustion. You have been tired in ways you could not explain, drained even when you slept, overwhelmed even when nothing was happening externally. That exhaustion wasn't weakness. It was spiritual congestion. Your heart has been overloaded with old wounds, unspoken fears, unhealed memories, and suppressed emotions, and heaven has been waiting for the right moment to release all of it from your spirit. Tonight is that moment. God says the reason this message reached you now is because the timing is not accidental. Heaven has been watching you move with so much strength while carrying things that should have broken you. Michael says your heart has been too brave, too soft, too forgiving, too patient, too wounded, and still too hopeful. And heaven has decided that your season of carrying things alone is ending. God says that you are entering a phase of restoration. The things that were taken from you unfairly will be returned. Opportunities that slipped through your fingers will circle back in new, better forms. People who misunderstood your heart will see your worth without you having to prove anything. Doors that were locked will open without effort. The heaviness that has been sitting on your chest for months will lift tonight like a wind releasing pressure from the atmosphere. God says you have been tested, stretched, pushed, and shaken because your destiny requires strength, sensitivity, and spiritual awareness. But you are not alone. You have never been alone. You were protected even when you didn't know danger was near. You were guided even when you thought you were wandering blindly. You were loved even when you felt forgotten. And tonight, heaven wants you to feel, see, and recognize that love more clearly than ever before. Archangel Michael says he has been trying to reach you because something you prayed for is about to manifest in a way that does not look like what you expected. You may be tempted to doubt it at first because it will appear suddenly, without warning, without build-up. But God says trust the feeling in your spirit. Trust the calmness that follows the initial shock. Trust the peace that settles over you after the moment arrives. God says you are safe. Completely safe. protected beyond your understanding. Nothing will go wrong. You are walking under divine supervision. Heaven is with you in every step you take. Tonight's moment is not danger, it is divine interruption, divine awakening, divine confirmation. God says breathe. Trust. Stay open. When 11:11 p.m. arrives, your spirit will know the moment. Something will shift in your atmosphere. Something will awaken in your heart. Something will change in your energy. Something will release in your soul. And the message that Michael has been trying to deliver will finally reach you. God says this is your moment. This is your sign. This is your divine alignment. You are safe. You are chosen. You are protected. And you are ready, my beloved child. Take a deep breath, open your heart, let the noise of the world fall away for a moment, because what you are about to hear is meant only for you. God says this gently but firmly, with a weight that cannot be ignored. My child, listen. Listen now. You don't realize how close you are to something that will shift your entire life. Archangel Michael has been trying to reach you, trying to guide you. But tonight something is happening that you must not miss. There is no heading here, only the flow of words pouring toward you like light, because God wants you to feel the urgency rather than just read it. There is something sacred about the timing, something divine about the way your heart was pulled to open this message exactly now, because heaven chooses moments, not randomness. Every moment has been arranged, shaped, and aligned so that at 11:11 p.m. tonight, something will reveal itself, something that was hidden in the shadows of uncertainty, something that will finally step forward into the light. God says, my child, you do not need to be afraid. Nothing will go wrong with you. You are safe. Even when the world trembles, you stand in my protection. Even when fear tries to rise in your chest, I place my hand on it and calm it. Trust me. Archangel Michael steps forward, weary but determined. His voice shakes not from weakness, but from the depth of how long he has been trying to get your attention. He says, I'm tired of trying to talk to you. Not because you don't care, but because life has pulled you in so many directions. I've whispered, I've nudged, I've placed signs in front of you, I've stood guard at your door, and yet you didn't always see them. But tonight, this is different. Tonight is not like the other nights. Tonight the veil is thinner. The message is louder, and the time has come. He pauses, watching over you with the fierce love only an archangel can carry. Then he adds, you have 35 seconds to pay attention to what heaven needs to tell you before the moment passes. But once you listen, once you open yourself to this message, the window stays open. You are not late. You are right on time. What is this urgency? Why tonight? Why 11:11 p.m.? Why does God want you to hear this before it fades? Because tonight, heaven has aligned something around you, a shift, a revelation, a divine intervention that has been in preparation for months, maybe even years. Something you prayed for, cried for, begged for in silence, something you thought God forgot. It has been moving toward you even when you stopped believing. God says, "You think I'm silent when I'm planning. You think I'm distant when I'm rearranging. You think I'm ignoring you when I'm protecting you from something not meant for you." Tonight at 11:11 p.m., something hidden becomes visible, something blocked becomes unblocked, something delayed becomes released, something confusing becomes clear, something painful begins to heal, but more importantly, something shocking will approach your life, not to harm you, but to wake you, to shake your soul into realizing just how watched, guided, and protected you truly are. This is not a threat, this is not a warning of danger, this is a divine alert, a heavenly call that says, "Wake up. A new chapter is ready." You have been feeling it, haven't you, that strange heaviness, that sudden emotional wave, that unexpected tiredness, that pressure in your spirit, that sense that something big is coming. You felt the shift even if you didn't understand it. God saw every moment you doubted your worth. God saw every night you stayed awake replaying old wounds. God saw every time you held your own heart together when no one else even knew you were breaking. God saw every silent prayer you whispered. God heard every "why me?" Every "when will my turn come?" Every "I can't take any more." And through it all, Archangel Michael stood guard, cutting invisible cords, blocking unseen attacks, protecting you from energies you never realized were aimed at you. And today, he speaks with urgency because the breakthrough you've been waiting for is not just close, it is happening tonight. But why is he tired? Why is his voice strained? Why does he speak with such intensity? Because you often doubt yourself. Because you often fear the worst instead of believing the best. Because you sometimes walk away from signs that were meant to guide you. Because your heart has been wounded so deeply that trusting feels dangerous. Yet despite all of this, you remain chosen, you remain protected, you remain guided. God says, "My child, no matter how far you drift, I pull you back. No matter how distracted you become, I send my angels to redirect your steps." Tonight, I need you fully present, fully awake, fully open, because something extraordinary is unfolding. At 11:11 p.m., God will press something into your spirit, a thought, a sign, a realization, a name, a truth, a message, a release, a shift, a confirmation, a door opening, a burden lifting, a clarity you've begged for. It might come through a feeling, a dream, a sudden peace, an unexpected message, a memory returning to your heart, or a moment where something finally makes sense. God says, what will happen is shocking not because it is harmful but because it is divine, and the divine often arrives in ways you cannot predict. You have been walking blindly through a season that was not meant to destroy you but to transform you. Every delay was protection, every closed door was redirection, every loss cleared the way for something better, every betrayal revealed the truth you needed, every disappointment shaped your next blessing. Archangel Michael has been fighting battles for you that you never saw. He protected you from conversations spoken behind your back. He shielded you from people who smiled at you, while hiding intentions that were not pure. He stopped connections that would have drained your soul. He blocked energies sent toward you in jealousy, resentment, or hidden anger. He stood at the doorway of your spirit, sword drawn, refusing to allow anything that was not meant for you to enter. And now he says, I can't keep repeating this message. You must listen now. Heaven is speaking. Heaven is moving. Heaven is urging. This moment will not return in the same way again. This timing is divine. Tonight at 11:11 p.m., heaven aligns, a spiritual curtain lifts, a message that was hidden becomes revealed. But what exactly is coming? God whispers gently, my child, something you thought was gone forever will return in a way you never expected. It may be a truth, a connection, a revelation, a sign, a blessing, a breakthrough, a final answer to a question that has lived inside your heart for far too long. Something that was blocked in your path is unlocking. Something that was silent will speak. Something you were confused about will finally make sense. Something that was taken from you will begin its return. Something that was delayed will accelerate. You have been feeling a strange energy lately, the sense that something is shifting but you can't see it yet. That's because heaven has been preparing this moment. God says, you are not imagining it. Your spirit knows before your mind understands. This message is not here to scare you. It is here to prepare you, to lift you, to reassure you that heaven is not far, heaven is not silent, heaven is not ignoring you. And then, softly but urgently, God adds, trust me. Don't fear. Don't overthink. Don't panic. I am with you. Nothing will go wrong with you. You are safe. You are protected. You are watched. You are guided. You must understand something important. When God sends a message this direct, this urgent, it is because the timing matters, the alignment matters, the moment matters. Archangel Michael says, this is not random. This is not coincidence. This is divine synchronization. He asks you to stay open tonight. To sit for a moment in silence at 11:11 p.m., to let your heart hear what your ears cannot, to feel the presence around you, to sense the shift that heaven is orchestrating. You may feel warmth, you may feel chills, you may feel peace, you may feel a sudden knowing, you may feel a release, you may feel a lightness in your spirit. That will be your confirmation. And God says, when it arrives, don't doubt it. Don't question it. Don't brush it away. This message comes with urgency because heaven has kept something hidden until the right moment, and that moment is now. Your life is not falling apart, it is falling into divine alignment. Things are not ending, they are transforming. You are not being punished, you are being prepared. Everything that felt confusing will begin to make sense soon. Everything that felt heavy will lift. Everything that felt delayed will shift into motion. And tonight at 11:11 p.m., the first spark of that transformation will ignite. God wraps His presence around you and says, "My child, you are safe. Nothing will go wrong with you. Trust me. Pray to me. Walk with me. Do not let fear speak louder than my promise." This message reaches you with urgency because heaven is about to place something powerful in your path. You are not reading this by accident. You were guided, you were pulled, you were called, and heaven is whispering one final thing before the moment arrives. Be ready, be open, be calm, be trusting. Something beautiful is coming. My child, listen closely, because God says this moment is not random, and Archangel Michael has been trying to reach you again and again, but you have been distracted, overwhelmed, pulled in many directions, and drifting far from the message that was meant for you. God says He is stopping everything around you for a moment, clearing the noise, silencing the confusion, and pulling your soul forward so you can hear Him clearly. God knows how tired you are. God knows how much you hide behind your strength because you do not want people to see how close you were to giving up. God knows the nights you cried silently so no one could hear. The worries you buried inside your heart, and the weight you've been carrying without telling anyone. And this is why God says there is an urgent message, something that has been trying to reach you for days, and Archangel Michael says he is tired of trying to communicate with you while you keep doubting the signs that were given to you. My child, tonight at exactly 11:11 p.m., something extremely unexpected is going to shift in your energy, your path, and your destiny. God says this is not meant to scare you, not meant to worry you, but meant to prepare you, because what is coming to you is a shocking blessing, a surprising turn, and an event that will show you how protected you truly are. God says the reason this message feels urgent, the reason you feel that pressure inside your chest when you read this, is because your spirit recognizes the truth in it. God says something that was hidden from you for a very long time is moving, shifting, breaking open. A block that held you back for years is dissolving. A spiritual delay that was not your fault is being removed. A door that was closed in your face suddenly opens for you tonight, but God needs you to hear this before 11:11 p.m. so that your heart is ready, your mind is aligned, and your spirit is aware of the divine shift happening around you. Archangel Michael says he has been standing beside you every night, watching the storm around you, shielding you from things you didn't even see, protecting you from conversations you never heard, and fighting battles in the unseen that you weren't even aware existed. He says he has tried to warn you, tried to guide you, tried to whisper to your heart, but you kept saying, "Is it real? Or is it just my imagination?" But tonight, there is no confusion. There is no hesitation. God says what is about to happen at 11:11 p.m. will remove every doubt you ever had about divine protection, divine timing, and divine intervention in your life. God says you are safe. My child, you are so safe. You are wrapped in divine light. You are protected from anything that tries to harm your spirit. Nothing will go wrong with you. Nothing will collapse under you. Nothing will break you, even if it felt for a long time like everything was falling apart. God says your foundation is being rebuilt stronger than ever, and the cracks you experienced weren't failures, they were spiritual openings for His miracles to come through. Archangel Michael says the urgent part of this message is not danger. The urgency is spiritual timing. Tonight at 11:11 p.m., something you have been praying for, waiting for, thinking about, or secretly wishing for will begin forming in the unseen. God says He has been preparing something for you behind the scenes, something that aligns with the deepest longing of your heart. You may not see it physically at 11:11 p.m. But you will feel a shift, a calm, a sign, a sensation, a spiritual confirmation that something major has shifted in your destiny. God says the reason this message appears to you with divine urgency is because your life is moving into a new chapter, and you cannot take your old fears, old wounds, old anxieties, and old hesitations into the new season. God says something shocking will happen, but it will not harm you. It will shock you because you never expected that big of a blessing to come so suddenly, so effortlessly, so divinely aligned. God says the blessing coming to you was delayed, but never denied. It was slowed, but never stopped. It was hidden, but never taken away. Tonight at 11:11 p.m. the spiritual lock that held it back turns. And the energy around your life begins to shift. My child, God says He is asking you to trust Him in this moment, to release the fear of the unknown, to surrender the need to control everything, and to understand that right now, divine timing is working in your favor. You are safe. Nothing will go wrong with you. God is holding you in His light. Archangel Michael says you have been spiritually exhausted, drained, and overwhelmed because you have been fighting battles that were never meant for you to fight alone. He says you were carrying burdens that angels were supposed to carry for you. He says He has been trying to tell you, put it down. Let it go. Release it. You are not alone. You are protected. You are guided. But your mind kept trying to solve battles that required divine intervention, not human strength. God says that is why He pulled you here urgently. That is why this message reached you in this exact moment. God says He is aligning your life again. He is restoring your peace again. He is rewriting your story again. Tonight at 11:11 p.m., something spiritual unlocks. Something karmic breaks away. Something heavy lifts off. Something old releases. Something new begins. And God says the reason He wants you to know this is because He needs your spirit open, your heart calm, and your faith steady so you can receive what is coming. God says someone in your life has been thinking about you deeply. Someone whose energy has been tied to your destiny, someone who has been sending you thoughts, memories, prayers, or emotions without saying a word. God says the connection between you and this person activates tonight. Whether it is reconciliation, closure, healing, or a new beginning, something about this person becomes clearer to you after 11:11 p.m. God says you will understand why this person appeared in your life, why the connection felt strong, why it felt confusing, or why it kept circling back again and again. Archangel Michael says you are entering a time where clarity replaces confusion, truth replaces doubt, and peace replaces anxiety. The message is urgent because the shift is close. You may feel pressure in your chest, warmth in your hands, vibrations in your body, or sudden emotions, not out of fear, but because your spirit already knows the message is true. God says everything around you has been rearranged. People who were not meant for the next chapter of your life have been removed. Circumstances that were blocking you are dissolving. Situations that confused you are becoming clearer. God has been doing silent work in your life, and tonight at 11:11 p.m. you begin to see the first signs of it physically, emotionally, or spiritually. My child, God wants you to know something else. The pain you experienced was not punishment. The delays you witnessed were not rejection. The loneliness you felt was not abandonment. God says everything was preparation. Everything was alignment. Everything was cleansing. Everything was divine transformation. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not unlucky. You are not cursed. You are chosen, protected, and guided. Archangel Michael says he has not left your side for a single moment. Even when you felt alone. Even when you cried. Even when you thought no one cared. Even when you felt invisible. He says he stood beside you, shielded you, whispered to you, and tried to show you signs, repeating numbers, dreams, sudden intuition, emotional waves, but your mind brushed them off thinking they were coincidences. Michael says after tonight, you won't brush off the signs anymore. The shift at 11:11 p.m. will be too powerful and too precise to ignore. God says you must trust Him, because the blessing that is coming will need your heart open and your spirit ready. God says He knows that you've been scared, worried, unsure, and tired. He knows that you've been trying to stay strong for everyone while forgetting to care for yourself. He knows your faith has been tested. But He says tonight is the turning point. Tonight is the spiritual moment that changes everything. God says you are stepping into a phase of unexpected breakthroughs, sudden blessings, restored relationships, financial relief, emotional healing, and spiritual awakening. Everything that has been stuck begins to move. Everything that has been delayed begins to accelerate. Everything that has been confusing becomes clear. Archangel Michael says the urgent part of this message is that your destiny is shifting with or without your attention, but if you read this, you are aligned with it. Your spirit has arrived on time. You are not late. You are exactly where God needs you to be. God says nothing will go wrong with you. You are safe. You are protected. Your path is blessed. Your energy is rising. Your heart is healing. Your mind is clearing. You only need to trust Him and pray to Him. even if your prayer is simple, even if all you say is, "God, guide me." God says He heard you. Every prayer, every thought, every wish, every tear. And tonight at 11:11 p.m., the answer begins. If you believe in God, type Amen.